What is up, everybody? We are on episode number 9 of the WMMA Today podcast with Drake Riggs and me, Steve King. On this episode, we will be talking about the UFC Vegas 5 recap. What a fight that was, huh? And then there was an Invicta FC 41 recap, a one championship recap, a Shooto recap. There's fight news. There's a couple previews. Let's fucking go.
Plenty of fun.
All right, so we'll start with the UFC Vegas 5 recap where Jennifer Maia beat Joanne Calderwood via a first round submission. It was an armbar. Man, what a bummer for JoJo Calderwood, right? Like this is exactly what we were saying from the beginning. Like you're taking this fight knowing that Jennifer Maia is a beast because she is a beast. Drake, you and I, since we've known each other, we've always had this women's MMA thing, a bond with the women's MMA, but we've had fighters where we totally agree on that will be really good. Jennifer Maia was one of them from the very beginning for both of us.
Yep. Yeah, I know. I remember when, she finally got in the UFC and we were like, yes, it's about time. And, makes the debut against Liz Carmouche. And we're like, kind of, fuck, this is stylistically a bad matchup. But, we believed in her. Didn't go her way, but it was like, that was the moment where you're like, hey, everybody's going to get to see. It was kind of a slow, even though she ended up rebounding and getting the wins over Alexis Davis and Roxy in their rematch that they had after that. And then, had the hiccup against Caitlin Chukagian after that. Then she had the coming out party here. And, it went down pretty much kind of how we thought it would. You had the fear of, if it goes on the ground, that's where JoJo's going to be in trouble.
Right. And it was Calderwood was looking really good standing up.
And they both were.
Yeah, I mean Maia looked great the whole fight. I mean that was just a really great performance from Jennifer Maia. But JoJo Calderwood she looked good on the feet. It's just when she got taken down, we kind of knew if you had watched Jennifer Maia, you kind of knew, that might be trouble.
Yeah, exactly. And it was with the time running out too. It was like, she just has to kind of hang on here, survive, make sure that the elbow doesn't get bent. But you're like, once Maia's searching for something, it's, doesn't really matter how much time there is. And we saw that. And, it is super bittersweet, this victory, like you say, because it sucks for JoJo, who had the title shot, right? It was literally there. That was made. And then takes this fight for whatever reasons. We can only speculate, unless there was something that came out and I didn't see.
Oh.
And then it's the sweet side of it is, yes, for those people who have been paying attention to Jennifer Maia, it's so great to see her, pull this off and now get the title shot that she should have gotten for her debut. Like, she should have been matched right away with the title shot. Or I guess it would have been the vacant title fight, right? Put her in. She was the best flyweight in the world at the time when she came in. And, people don't realize that originally the UFC wanted to do Shevchenko versus Maia for when Shevchenko was dropping down rather than Priscilla Cachoeira, which would have been a lot more logical than what we got for both of them. So, yeah, it's really great to see this and, expose people who had yet to really see how good Maia is, that she is this good. Like, I saw that the UFC Canada, I think, Twitter account was like, Maia is legit, like, for pulling this submission off. Like, they was like, okay, like, come on, man. Like, we knew that.
Do you watch anything other than the UFC? Like, if you watch Invicta, if you've seen Jennifer Maia, she was the Invicta champion for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, she was the number one flyweight in the world. Like that was the consensus agreement there. And so just those little things are always funny to me when these kind of things happen. But that's the bittersweet side of it. So it's great to
But
see.
it's actually really cool that that Jennifer Maia is getting love from people. And really fucking awesome was the Valentina Shevchenko tweet saying, "All right, let's go."
Yeah, I think that if they didn't have that slight bit of history where they were supposed to fight, I don't know if she would have said that. I mean, she probably still would have because it's Valentina, and she's like, okay, whoever,
Yeah,
I don't care who's next, just give me
right.
whoever. And I mean, with how things played out here, she probably would have done it anyways. But that just adds a little bit of something to it. And I was really happy to see, she did miss weight surprisingly in the last two fights before this. Very out of character for a champion of her caliber and all that. I don't think she'd ever missed weight before that, and then she came in a little under for this one. So I was like, okay, cool, back on track.
Yeah,
Gets this win here.
she looked
You love to
fucking
see it.
phenomenal, dude.
Flyweight, it's getting back to where it was before the UFC kind of poached off people, and
Yeah,
scrambled up how it was. But getting exciting again, I would say.
yeah. So I mean, Jennifer Maia clearly should get that title fight against Valentina Shevchenko. Shevchenko is the one that said it herself. Jojo Calderwood, that's just it hurts for her. That's gotta hurt. She was right there. She had the title fight. Like, I get it. You want to stay busy. You might need the money. We don't know the reasons, but I mean, Calderwood had said prior that she wanted to stay busy. So I think that's probably what it was, that she just wanted to stay busy. The unknown with Valentina Shevchenko, we don't know when she's going to be ready to fight, because as we've been saying, she's just posting pictures of her out on the West Coast, at the lakes, in the redwoods, and she's not doing sparring videos. She's not showing anything like that. So we don't know anything about Valentina Shevchenko. We don't know whether her knee is injured right now or if it's healed, or we just don't know. It's the unknown with Valentina Shevchenko. I would assume, since she sent that tweet out, that she is almost ready to fight.
Close enough, right? Close enough.
To fight. A few months, maybe October.
Yeah, presumably not too far out. And so before we move on here, I saw some people kind of debating against Maia getting a title shot, and generally from my purist standpoint, I would maybe agree with that, but I don't know. I mean, when you look at the situation, and she beat the person who was going to be, the title contender. I saw comparisons to the Frankie Edgar Brian Ortega fight. Very, very similar situation to how things played out there. Like, Frankie didn't need to take that, but he did. Lost his title shot. Ortega skipped the line, kind of thing. People mention Calvillo and Murphy have better claims to it, and I mean, obviously Murphy's on that winning streak that she's on. Calvillo just beat Jessica Ai, who is ranked number one, and I never agreed with that though, so I don't really put her above Maia. I think though that the fact that Maia looked so good against the person who was going to get the title shot and beating them in the first round, that just kind of overdoes it all. And it's not like losing to Caitlin is a bad thing either. Another top 3 person in the division, so. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
So this is how the rankings go right now. Valentina is obviously the champion. Caitlin Chukasian, who Valentina just beat, is number 1. Cynthia Calvillo, who you said just beat Jessica Ai, who was number 1, is number 2. Jennifer Maia went up from number 6 to number 3. She went up 3 spots. Lauren Murphy stayed at number 4, but she's on that streak. And then Joanne Calderwood went down to number 5. She went down 2 spots. So when you're looking at rankings, does Caitlin Chukasian deserve a rematch? No.
Not yet. No.
Cynthia Calvillo. She beat Jessica Ai. the number one ranked fighter, but maybe Jessica shouldn't have been the number one ranked fighter because she got knocked out by a head kick, like out cold. So Cynthia Calvillo this was literally her first fight in that division. Coming off of one fight and one win in the division, should she step up to fight Valentina Shevchenko? No. Jennifer Maia is number 3. She just beat the person who was supposed to fight for the title, Joanne Calderwood. She's now number 3. Jennifer Maia should be fighting for the title shot. Plus, Valentina Shevchenko is the one that threw the name out there. Valentina Shevchenko, at this point in her career, is able to call the shots. She's able to say who she wants to fight at this point. I mean, she's running through the division. Jennifer Maia is legit. She's a legit contender. I don't have any problem with Jennifer Maia getting a title shot. The only person that could make an argument to me is Lauren Murphy because she's on a roll right now.
But even she was fine with it. Did you see she posted? She was like, yeah, give Maia. That was a great win. She totally, I'm fine with it. I'll fight Calvillo in the meantime, which that's the fight to make. You have to do Murphy Calvillo.
Fight. Yeah, that's a fantastic fight.
Calvillo, put it on the same card.
And Murphy. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Put them on the same card. Yeah. Yep. I dig it. All right. So welcome Head Kick Audio. Thank you for joining us, Steve. Yusuf Muhammad. The positive for JoJo is at least she doesn't get murdered. I mean, yes, at least she doesn't get murdered. You're right. Like what we're seeing right now from Valentina Shevchenko is like she's dominating. So, I mean, until she fights Amanda Nunes.
Steven, you know that we've both agreed that Valentina being a murderer is not exactly true.
It was the head kick.
Just the head kick to Cachoeira. Although I will say that,
and the head kick to Jessica Eye.
Yeah, I will say though that this loss obviously proves that JoJo most likely just would have got defeated on the ground somehow, just not quite there. Because I mean, Valentina's so strong and well-rounded everywhere.
Yeah,
probably would have ended up on the ground. And then Yusuf also says that Valentina apparently told Ariel that she'd be ready for November. And if that's the case, then all right. That's great.
Yeah. Okay, so, November. Yep. October, November, whenever. I mean, I'm sure Jennifer Maia is willing to wait for that title shot.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine if she ends up taking another fight in the meantime and then same thing happens to her?
She will not take another fight. She will not. I mean, she's definitely learning from Calderwood's mistake.
Yeah, I mean, that would be ridiculous.
Okay, so the Invicta FC 41 recap, man, kind of broke my heart, man. Like everything from for the main event kind of broke my heart. First, Janessa Ranjan missed weight again.
Ugh.
And then she lost the fight by a key lock. Like, just
amazing. This was a beautiful performance from Montserrat, dude.
Yeah, it really was a beautiful performance by Montserrat Ruiz.
Yeah, I mean, she went in there and did pretty much exactly what she needed to do, man. I mean, we knew that she needed to close the distance to really get her hands on Janessa. She did, got her down, and just kind of fell into the perfect position. And, you know, she didn't get the key lock right away. It was kind of
she put in work.
Teasing with it and, landed some ground and pound. I was like, oh, just crank it. It's right there. And she ended up getting it, and not a submission you want to be caught in. Fantastic win for her. I mean, again, it's like her only loss is to Danielle Taylor, and we talked about it last week. Like, Danielle Taylor has her way of making people just not look the way that they
Yeah.
they do, if that makes sense. Like look at Danielle Taylor even fought Whaley, and Whaley even didn't look as good as normally she does. That's just the Danielle Taylor effect. She's one of those fighters who does that to people.
Well,
Um,
also Whaley wasn't exactly the Whaley that she is now
yeah, and I
either.
mean that was her debut. America
Yeah.
didn't have her head coach. There were a lot of little factors, but I mean,
Yeah.
still Danielle Taylor effect.
Yeah. No,
We've
I
seen it.
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we've talked about there's fighters that just have this way of making tough fights tough for their opponents, and Daniel Taylor is one of them.
Yeah, so it was kind of like not a fair thing to judge off of. But yeah, we came in here with this one. Montserrat did her thing, man, and just really impressive. Obviously, it might have been more impressive if Janae was to come in on point still. But I mean, it makes me want to really pay attention to Montserrat after this. So I mean, in the main
Yeah,
event, she looked that was about as good of a win that you could have gotten. And for
she was
Janae, man,
great.
it's like, man, what now? If for both of them, it's like, okay, where do we go next? Obviously, I'm sure that they'll do Dakota Ruiz. Why not? Why not do that next? Um, we'll see.
Yeah,
For
that's
Brandon,
a
though,
fun fight, man.
yeah, very good one. Very good one.
Yeah,
But yeah, geez, Janesa really needs to figure the weight thing out. As we knew before this, it's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable that the issues are still there. And what is it? Is it 3 in a row now she's lost? I mean,
yeah, I think
it
so.
sucks. Sucks to see. Still young. Um, I'm sure she'll figure it out. Hopefully, but I mean, man, it's like how many chances can you give somebody? Don't put her in a main event next, though. Let's get that out of the way. Invicta, don't give her a main event next. That just doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense to do that. But yeah, speaking of young, talented fighters, Aaron Blanchfield in the
yes,
co-main event.
yeah,
Goodness,
yeah. I
he
mean,
continues.
she's an absolute monster, man. But like we also said on the last episode, Brogan Walker Sanchez did not make it easy for her. She's just always in the fights. She's
So
another one of those. Just
I
another one.
agree. I agree with that. She didn't make it easy necessarily, but at the same time, Aaron was still able to win pretty easily. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a
Erin
weird balance
Blanchfield
to it.
looked really good. She looked really good in that fight.
Everywhere.
Yeah, literally everywhere. She looked really good in that fight. But Brogan and Walker Sanchez made it kind of tough on her. If it was anybody else and Aaron Blanchfield looked that good, she might have got a finish. But again, Sanchez is tough. Just one of those tough fighters to to go up against.
Yeah, and I mean, if there was a little bit more time in that last round, it could have been stopped because that
Yeah,
she was
yeah,
raining down in the mount. So,
yeah. She was just man. She
oh,
was
dude,
pouring them on
what a
at that point.
prospect! I can't say enough good things about her. It's insane how just she gets better. Every next fight she has is her best performance. Like I mean, maybe I don't know. The Leonardo one was pretty good. That might still be the best one, but this one was very good too. And it's like, damn, dude, just UFC's gonna take her if they can. I mean, they should. Bellator, either of those two, they should be like, all right, come on, come on. They should be throwing everything at her because
They
star
should.
potential, dude.
They definitely should. I would hope that it would be cool to see her to go to Bellator
Yeah,
because I mean everybody's going to the UFC. Like it's pretty soon it's going to be Invicta UFC. Like they can pretty much put on an Invicta card at this point.
yeah,
So it would be cool to see Aaron Blanchfield go to Bellator. I would hope that Bellator is smart enough to look at Invicta. I mean,
I mean, they do a little bit.
they do a little bit. I just don't think it's enough. Like you would think that they would get other fighters.
Well, also, I don't think it helps that Invicta pretty much has a partnership with the UFC at this point. That
Right.
doesn't help too much.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you look at Bellator's pretty much been able to snatch up all the featherweights that they want from Invicta because UFC refuses to take them. um, and we've seen some others here and there. Some one that we'll actually talk about for the fight news, which was a very interesting thing to see. But yeah, I mean Blanchfield, dude. I mean, I just imagine like stylistically right now, like the thought of her versus Alima gets me really excited. Just on the ground, like I mean that would be really fun. Obviously too soon. Like I don't want to see that yet. I saw suggestions of maybe give Blanchfield the title shot next if she doesn't
Not yet.
go up to the UFC. But yeah, that's the thing. Is like, okay, you look at Invicta and the champions who they have right now, which I guess they only just have. It's just Pam and Porto, right? Am I? Yeah, because everybody else is gone. So generally, maybe they'll have a good mix of like some veterans or young, champions. But you look at like Porto, for example. She's literally still one of the best and has been one of the elite flyweights for a long time. Like
That's
she's
another
top 5,
one
top
that
6.
Bellator should get. I mean, the UFC hasn't
I can't
poached
believe it,
her
man.
yet.
It
So I
drives me
mean,
insane.
Bellator might as well do it by now.
Yeah, it's crazy that she isn't in either. I mean, because yeah, it would be a mistake. Like if somebody else was the champion, then I'd be like, okay, maybe if like Miranda Maverick ended up becoming a champion before going, I'd be like, okay, maybe we can do Blanchfield Maverick. But Porto though is just perpetually underappreciated by everybody it seems, except for Invicta. So that would be too soon. I think it would be fun, obviously, but it would lead to an unnecessary setback for Aaron at this point. Don't need to do that yet, especially when she's totally capable of just getting signed up to either of those promotions, like you mentioned. So,
So I would find it really interesting if they put Erin Blanchfield in a title fight so that she can get the opportunity to fight for a title, build her
5
name,
rounds.
5 rounds, build herself up, and then but then the flip side of that is if she wins, somebody's going to pick her up right away, most likely the UFC.
Oh, yeah.
And I would love to see with Invicta just a champion stick around for 1 or 2 fights, and the belt not be vacated within like the first fight that they,
No title defenses. Yeah.
no title defenses. That drives me fucking crazy about Invicta. That's literally the only thing about Invicta that kind of gets on my nerves. But I see why. Like, I mean, you see
the titles have turned into contracts, UFC contracts.
right.
Generally.
It's like LFA, the same exact
Yeah.
thing. LFA is the same thing. You win the LFA title. You either go on the Contender Series, which we've seen with Demopoulos, or you get a contract with the UFC. You get brought in late notice or whatever. But the UFC is clearly poaching from LFA and Invicta.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point. I mean, which is fine. Nothing. It is what it is. They'll get there eventually. That's a good proving, a litmus test, right? If they can become champion, that's a pretty big deal. But yeah, it's just like, well, then how come you aren't signing Porto and even Sorensen, who deserves to help out the featherweight division? Like Jesus.
Okay, so speaking of the featherweight division, so we have Caitlin.
My prediction was wrong.
She beat Latoya Walker by unanimous decision. Yeah, would you pick a first 5-second knockout or
First
something?
minute.
Like that?
I said first minute.
Fucking
But-
full Masvidal.
Yeah, Caitlyn still won quite easily, even though my stream was very choppy during this fight, so I didn't really see it in its entirety. But every time it was on, she was winning clearly. So
Yeah, I mean she was hitting Walker very, very hard.
Yeah, chopping her
Like
down.
literally every kick, every punch, every knee. Um, she was just working. She's man, Caitlin Young is a workhorse, isn't she?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no doubt about that. I mean, striking Viking, man.
Striking Viking. Head kick audio said Striking Viking looked awesome. She absolutely did.
Yeah, I mean, not surprising. Obviously, I expected
No.
her to look great here, but I
Yeah.
expected it to. I guess it goes to it's a nod to Walker being able to hang in there, even though, I guess I don't know. I didn't see it fully, like I said, so maybe Caitlyn wasn't going as aggressive as she normally does, but still, obviously, a good win. So
Yeah. I would like to see her fight Pam Sorensen.
see him go at it again.
Yeah. Yep. I want to see that fight.
I mean, it was a solid first one, but
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe the thing is like, yeah, who else is Pam gonna fight? That's pretty much
I'm
the thing.
pretty okay with that fight.
So, yeah, that's the thing. Like the options are limited, so I'd be fine with it too. I guess. I mean, why not do it
I
again?
mean, who else is who else? Megan
That's
Anderson
the
gonna go
question.
fight again and
Go
try
back
to
to Invicta.
try to get her belt back? I mean, come on.
That
There's literally not much out there.
that's the annoying thing. It's just like, just let him go to Bellator. I mean, come on. Now that Cyborg's there, let's build it up even more. Even though it sounds
Right.
like the Blanco fight's gonna be getting announced soon, which is good. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, assuming Blanco can get to
Come
America,
over
I
here.
mean,
Yeah.
Hooker
Can't she,
did, so
yeah, can't she even get over here?
we will see about that. But just to touch on these first ones real quick, Alexa Cope looked really good in her debut. I thought that was a very solid one.
Yeah, she
Uh,
looked good.
Opening the card, and then Salmons and Guthrie, a very close
That was a
fight.
fun fight.
Yeah, very, very close one. I scored it. I think I scored it for Claire. I had it for her or a draw. I don't think I had it as a draw though, but it was one of those where it was like the scorecards were all over the place. I remember. I think that going into the third, they were like every scorecard option that there could be made mathematically was was made by the judges because we could see them. So I was like, oh, you don't see that very often, or so that was something. But not a robbery, obviously. Whoever was to win that, it was one of those close competitive fights, and not surprised that Salmon's got it. Even though I did pick Guthrie, both still prospects. She'll be back.
I had
So
Guthrie
it's
winning that fight as well. Um,
yeah.
but I mean, I'm not mad at it. It's not something to get fucking throw your hat at and be like fucking pissed off about. I mean, it's just not one of those fights. Yeah, I can literally see either of them getting the win, and I mean,
Yeah.
it's whatever.
Thankfully, we haven't gotten too many robberies lately. If you look back at,
Uh,
well,
we've gotten more bad ref calls than we have robberies.
yeah, yeah, that is true. But I'm telling you, it's got to be because they've been going to Kansas, so they got out of Missouri. Missouri just doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
It's
And
true,
let's
and
talk about this.
they have the open judging too.
Yes, yes, and they also are trying the media thing. Do you see that?
I did, dude. I want to do it. Come on, Invicta, get Drake and I on. We literally talk about you every episode. We recap. Oh man, come on.
I know. I'm gonna ask Eric about like, what was
Yeah,
that like? Very.
yeah.
I saw that. I was like, oh damn. I mean, look at that man trying to be different. That's always a cool thing, and
Brandon
especially
Knapp is
for
amazing, dude. I mean, I can't say it enough. I think I say it every time we talked about it in Invicta, but Shannon Knapp is amazing at what she does. She's a great MMA mind. She knows what the fuck she's doing.
yeah, and she's not afraid to try things
And she's
like
exactly you, and she's not afraid to try. And if she fails, she fails. Then she just
yeah,
won't do it again.
exactly. So it's
I
like yeah,
mean,
no harm, no foul whatsoever.
right?
So that was Invicta 41. Solid card overall. Very excited for the next one.
Yeah.
But before we move on to one here, let's answer our question that we got.
Yeah.
So thank
Okay,
you.
so Yusuf Muhammad said, "Who do you guys think will have harder punching power at 125? Jessica Andrade, Valentina Shevchenko, or Wei Li Zhang?" Go ahead, Trey.
Okay, so that this could have been a good segue actually to go into a news piece, but we'll get there. Whaley, not at 125, but assuming she gets there at some point. Shevchenko, this is actually a pretty good trio when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Valentina's probably gonna be the little. It's hard to say. I was gonna say I'd have her last on the list, because she's not really a power puncher. I mean, she's a good counter puncher, and she has knockout ability, but we've seen that with her feet. She hasn't.
Yeah, if it was kicking, she would be number one.
Yeah, I can't think of a moment where she's gotten a knockdown with punches. Did she knock Holly down? I mean, and that was at 135, so I don't know if that would count at flyweight. I don't know. Obviously, she does hit hard. It's the
She didn't
technique.
knock Joanna down?
I don't think so. I don't remember seeing it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but either when you compare Valentina to Weili and Andrade, obviously she's a superior technique, which is what makes
Yeah.
her able to have such strong strikes and whatnot. Andrade obviously is just a ball of power.
She's a power. She's
So-
a powerhouse.
and then Weili is a bit of a mix of the technique and power, which I think would then give her an edge. And going up, having more weight on her body. So I mean, I would have to
We've
probably
okay,
rank it.
so we've seen what Andrade is able to do at 125
And 35.
and 135, right?
So she's kind of got to be one.
Yeah, I would put her at number one, and then I think like you said, Shevchenko is more of a technical striker, but not
Speed and
like
precision.
not like power.
You never see her
So-
throwing haymakers or anything like that. Like
No, and she wouldn't do that anyway because she's so smart. Like she's very precise about
Yeah.
what she throws. So
Andrade,
Andrade,
Weili, Shev.
Riley and Shevchenko probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds about right. I mean, I think we've seen enough evidence of Andrade in the weight classes below and above flyweight that it's like, come on. It's like-
Yeah.
if she has less power at 125, that just wouldn't make sense. So we'll see. But a very good question. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very good question. I like those kind of questions where
Yeah.
it kind of makes us think about like what
Those
ifs.
hypotheticals. Yeah.
Yeah.
That we will get answers to, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. We'll talk about that later.
Mm-hmm.
So one championship returned with no surrender. There's Stamp Fairtex. Man, she's just phenomenal, isn't she?
She is very good. Yes, no doubt about it. It was pretty much got what we expected here. She looked fine, very sharp on the feet as expected. Knees in the clinch were particularly dirty. I will say though, this finish bothers me a little bit. This bothered me for a couple reasons. First off, it was just kind of weird, right? I mean, Cisan, I think that was how they were pronouncing it on the commentary. She was flat on her stomach, right? But she rolled over from being mounted, and she had like a headlock on
Yeah.
Stamp. So she was holding on to it like face down like that, right? And so then Stamp was obviously punching, which led to the stoppage pretty quickly. I thought it was a little early. I mean, obviously not intelligent defense, presumably hanging on to get stood up, but in that position, like not a chance. it was just very weird. It was a very weird sequence for me to watch unfold. Um, I mean, it was inevitable that Stamp was going to win from that position, most likely, but I think you could have let it go a little bit longer, ref. I guess that's really my only issue with it. I don't know. Other than that, a very good
Not
performance by
everybody can
her.
be Herb Dean.
Yeah, not everyone's gonna be Herb and just take a nap in the corner while the fight's going on, while the person's unconscious.
But I mean,
So,
so even if the ref let it go on for a little while longer, Stamp was going to win. I mean, she's really good. She's really, really good. I would. Do you want to see her fight Angela Lee?
that's what they want, obviously.
That's
But
what I want. I mean, that's what I want. Is I want to see Stamp Fairtex and Angela Lee fight.
I mean, they've been
They,
talking
the
about
two fighters want that fight.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they've been talking about doing that since before this fight was made,
Yeah, before
and
this fight,
this,
before COVID, before the
yeah.
the whole pandemic and everything.
And then, so this was pretty much like a kind of a warm up to get Stamp back in there because, Sinisa hadn't fought since like 2017, I don't think.
Right.
So you could kind of see what was happening there. And I mean, Stamp was she coming off the loss in kickboxing, I think, maybe?
Kickboxing.
Either way, I don't know. I still, even before this fight, I felt like it was a little too soon for Stamp in MMA to get a title shot, especially against somebody like Angela Lee, who is so talented, and especially on the ground where Stamp is going to be at a disadvantage and where the fight's going to go. It will go there. Like, that's
Yeah,
a promise.
yeah, but Stamp Fairtex is better on the feet.
Yes. So it is a very fun striker versus grappler matchup, no doubt about it.
Yep.
And then the thing is, though, who else is Angela going to fight besides, somebody up at strawweight or, get that Jingnan trilogy, which I would not hate at all. But now they're teammates, so I'm heartbroken. And it probably won't happen now. Because, I mean, it was going to be most likely, I'm totally blanking on her name, but the Russian girl who fought Yamaguchi, if she would have beat Yamaguchi, then it was like, okay, definitely give her a title shot. And Yamaguchi's probably not going to get another title shot after having 2 losses. Even though she's on a good winning streak, I mean, I wouldn't be totally mad at that happening just because, very competitive first 2 fights. The first fight, one of the best fights ever. But obviously, they want Stamp versus Angela Lee. And if you want fresh matchups, it's like the only one that makes any sense. So
It's super fresh.
Probably.
Plus, the two fighters want it. I mean, they've openly talked about it.
Yeah. So we'll see.
It.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
I think we're gonna see it soon.
Yeah. Now that they got things lined up and going again, not like Stamp took too much damage there either. So.
No.
So that will be interesting.
Yep, I liked it. Okay, so Shooto 2020 volume number 5 recap. Mina Kurobi beat Mizuki Sugimoto by unanimous decision at the super atomweight division. I mean, it's kind of what we saw, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was the veteran versus the prospect trying to launch themselves into that upper echelon of the division. And didn't get to see this one yet. It'll probably be on YouTube at some point. Which the Deep Jewels 29 fights, they were all on YouTube now for those who have yet to see them. We talked about them last week after they were done. Hamasaki's tag team match and Shizuka Sugiyama's fight. I watched that before this. So, those are there now if you want to go watch them. Hopefully this one will be up. But from the sounds of the recap in this article and everything, Kurobe just got the better of her on the feet, did her thing, put the pressure on, got in her face, as she does. Just too much experience. It is what it is. Yeah. Sugimoto will be back.
She's young. She's only like 20 or something like that.
I think you're thinking of Furuse. Sugimoto. I think she's the 30-year-old one who
Oh,
still in like the prospect, 30-year-old
oh yeah,
prospect. Like
yeah, yeah,
when
yeah,
we were talking about the
yeah,
prospects.
yeah. Yep.
So yeah, still definitely has plenty
That's
of
true.
time to keep growing. And I mean, she will just learn from this fight. So Mina though, hanging on. I think she's 43 now. Incredible. It's incredible how she's
I mean, she's
still.
just really good.
Yeah,
She knows how to fight, man.
that's the best way to put it. So congratulations to her for
Yeah.
getting that belt.
43 is the new 33 anyway. I mean,
Exactly, exactly.
it doesn't even matter at this point how old they are. I mean, we got Mike
So
Tyson
true.
fighting at 53 next month,
Is that next month?
September 12th.
Jeez, I
Mike
didn't
Tyson and
know
Roy
that.
Jones Jr. So a fight that should have happened back in 2003, but it never came to fruition. Um, Total fucking bummer for me, a boxing fan. For me,
Better late than never.
a lover of Mike. Dude, they're 53 and like 51. Okay,
Just kidding.
it's an exhibition fight. I'm totally okay with it. Um, I'm fine with watching them fight. They say it's only an exhibition, so they're not gonna go 100%. They're not gonna go balls to the wall. But I'm assuming that they're both like really they're competitors and they're monsters. They're both equally monsters. Roy Jones Jr. was an amazing technical fighter. He murked a bunch of people himself, but we know Mike Tyson is the killer, the absolute fucking monster. Um, man, $49.99 for that pay-per-view though. Like,
Really?
are you gonna who's gonna pay to see an exhibition fight with a bunch of YouTubers on the main card? Jake Paul's one of them, by the way.
Jeez.
I mean, listen, I'm not saying that I'm not gonna pay for it because I might get a feather up my ass that morning, and actually fucking buy into it, just like I did that first Logan Paul and KSI fight. I bought that one.
Disgusting.
Just be look, dude. I'm a fucking combat sports fan. I'm like a lobster. I eat what's on the ground. I'll watch literally whatever is in front of me. I don't give a fuck. And
Put it in front of Steve. He's got it.
I am into Mike Tyson coming back. Like, I want to see what he has. He looks phenomenal. Have you seen the clips of him back? He looks fucking great.
I haven't seen him like doing boxing stuff, but I've seen his physique looks better. Yeah.
Dude, go check out. I know you're not like a boxing lover like I
Don't
am,
give a shit.
but go look at Mike Tyson's him hitting mitts. This dude's 54 years old, fucking hitting like he's 34 years old. He's a beast. He's a monster. I love it. I'm in. I just talked myself into it. I'm probably gonna order right now as soon as we're done here.
That always happens on our show. We are not sure if we're excited for something, and then we just think about it for a little bit as we're going, and it's like, okay, I'm sold. I sold myself.
Like, I have to talk out loud to myself, and I don't do that on my own because I'm not a crazy person. I hope. I mean,
as far as we all know, yeah.
yeah. It's fine. What? I'm sorry. What did you say? Hold on.
What was that? Wait, what? There's nobody there, dude. All right, let's continue on.
Okay, fight news, baby. All right, so Deanna
Interesting
Bennett
one.
signed with Bellator, yeah, like,
Out
and
of
she's gonna
nowhere.
fight Liz Carmouche. A date to be determined and a venue to be determined. I would think that's a kind of shocking. Like,
Big time.
yeah,
I mean, is it safe to assume that this is why Bennett pulled out of the Leonardo fight? Or was there COVID related things? I don't remember. I feel like I saw that, but I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not sure
That was
either.
For
But
Invicta 40, yeah.
but she signed with Bellator now, and I mean, should be fun, right?
I mean, the thing is, in a perfect world, which we're not quite living in, or ever will, I guess, technically, right? Nothing's perfect. I would do Liz Carmouche versus probably Alejandra Lara. I think that would be a good one to decide next title contender because obviously Velasquez is next in line. Alima agrees with that too, and she's kind of waiting around for that to happen, which is totally fine. But I will say that this is Carmouche versus Bennett is a lot better of an idea than Carmouche versus I'm drawing a blank on the person that they had her match with too, but a prospect. So a lot better of an idea than feeding that prospect to Carmouche in both of their debuts. I mean, at least Bennett is a veteran and will be able to make this, has the ability to make this decently competitive. I mean, he got to favor Liz, I think, against pretty
Yeah.
much anybody except for Velasquez and Alima at the
Right.
moment in Bellator. Those are the other two where you're like, all right, there's where things get really fun and interesting. I mean, this is a very fun and interesting development. Didn't see this coming at all. And like I said, I'll take it over what they originally had for Liz, which got postponed due to everything. So yeah.
See, this is an Invicta fighter going to Bellator, which is, like I said earlier, I would like to see more of. I would like to see Invicta fighters go to Bellator, not just the UFC. Bellator has a really good platform. It gets shit on a lot by people because different reasons, because of the tape delays and other reasons. But if you go to a Bellator event live, they're really fun. Drake, you've covered Bellator events a few, right? By now,
Yeah.
2 or 3.
I think I've done 4 now.
4. I've covered one Bellator, and I've gone as a fan. Fucking, I don't know how many times
Always great energy.
Because San Jose is only an hour away from me, and that's literally the home base for Bellator. So I've gone forever. Yeah, they're always exciting when you're there at the event. They need to pick up that excitement on TV and get their TV right now. They're going to Showtime. Once the zone thing is done, they're going to Showtime. That might be better for them because Showtime knows fight sports. They covered Strikeforce. They had the WEC and I think IFL as well. Maybe.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Did you say Strikeforce?
I said Strikeforce first before WEC.
Yeah. WEC was on? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep.
I did not know that. But also Bellator, they struck a deal today, didn't they?
Oh, I don't know. Did they? With what?
Pluto TV? I don't know what that is exactly, but
it's a streaming service, kind of like Hulu-ish, Hulu type of streaming service. I didn't see that. Okay, so that's cool. I mean, again, that's just another place for their fights to be shown on.
Yeah, exactly. More what's the word I'm looking? More exposure, I guess. More areas to be seen.
Exposure is great for MMA promotions. MMA is not a mainstream sport. As much as we MMA fans want to think that it is, it isn't. It's getting closer because it's being covered by ESPN a lot more now. Yeah, obviously the UFC is on ESPN, and then PFL was as well. But up until last year, ESPN didn't cover the UFC unless it was Conor McGregor fight or John Jones was getting in trouble.
Yeah, big things, big bad things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty much. So that's exciting. We'll see how that turns out. and might as well take this question before we continue on with the news. Another one from Yusuf. Thank you, Yusuf, for tuning in and participating. So, what do you think about this one, Steven?
How do you
How do
see
we
Rose
see Rose?
versus Whaley, and how do you with JJ? I'm assuming Rose versus Whaley, Rose versus Joanna.
I'm assuming he's asking, what do we do with Joanna? That's what I'm assuming. Correct us if if wrong there. Um, but as for Rose versus Whaley, I mean, it's so hard for me to pick against Whaley at the moment. I mean, I think we've talked about it a little bit
Yeah,
since Rose got the win over Andrade, obviously. Um, Man, I mean, it's two of the fastest. I mean, all three mentioned here are like the fastest female strikers out there.
yeah,
So a very fun triangle of fights that are to be made there and that we have seen just already. But yeah, man, Whaley's power and her strength and just every area is such a big factor for me, accompanied by her speed. Like, it's just so unique to see that kind of skill set that she has. I mean, nobody else does what she does, and especially as good as she does. The thing with Rose, though, is just that, phenomenal killer instinct. Um, what her chances, her best chance would probably be to snatch a submission. I feel like I've said this before about Rose against, I think for the first Andrade fight, that was kind of the feeling I had. Um, so I don't know. It's a great matchup, of course, but yeah, at the moment, until I see Whaley like in some deep danger, I don't know, man. It's gonna be hard for me to pick against her. So,
yeah. I
and
mean, I agree. We haven't really seen Whaley. Of course, the fight with Joanna was amazing, and it was the fight of the year. Um,
competitive, yes, of course. Like, but she wasn't in any like serious
but
trouble.
yeah,
Obviously took
she
damage
didn't
and all
get
that,
like
but
she didn't like get rocked.
yeah,
Where where she where we were at the point of saying, "Oh shit, she can get finished here."
yeah,
We didn't see that. We didn't see that from Whaley. And I don't. Rose is good though. Rose is very good. She's not a former champion for no reason.
yeah.
I'm a big Rose fan, Rose Namajunas fan. I guess I have to see Whaley get beat.
Yeah, I mean, because also if you look at, sorry to cut you off, but you look at the last round there, where Andrade was coming on strong in their last fight, it's like, damn, man, Whaley probably would have finished that just because her technique is crisper, and just
Yeah,
more tight and effective, and she would have made certain adjustments to where that fight was going. That, especially if there were more rounds, it would not have gone in her favor, So,
yeah,
um, it's exciting to think about. It really is. The more that we're talking about it here, I'm like, oh damn, I do want to see that next for sure. But
yeah. That's a good. I mean, it's a really good fight. It would be a
yeah,
really fun fight.
yeah.
But also, if they put Joanna back in there with Whaley, is fine too because of the way that the fight went.
Yeah, I feel like I think I said this last week too. Yeah, that obviously you can't be super upset because it'll be another great fight. But like, damn
Yeah.
man, I can't. Too many Joanna title shots. Like, that's the thing. She's
Kind of like Holly
strawweight
Holm.
Holly now. Yeah, strawweight Holly on the same
Yeah.
page there. So what to do with her next? That's pretty much that's a part of the possibility there. I just can't give her a title shot off of having lost title fights so many so recently. So it's really tricky. I think that the best thing that they could do, because we have all these contenders. Carla, I think, is next in line at the moment, and then we're waiting to see what happens with Claudia and Yan Jiaonan, who I think winner of that positions themselves right in there too. And this is because Tatiana's in limbo still.
Right. Yeah.
So it's still such a limbo that we don't really know. Assuming things shake out with these other fighters, like right around when she gets ready to come back, I say Tatiana versus Joanna. I think that
Yeah.
that would probably be the best also to try and see I mean, that's a really tough comeback, obviously, for Suarez
Super
after,
tough,
recovering.
super tough. But
So,
she's ranked number 3, so she's not going to get somebody easy.
yeah. Yeah, and I think it's a great test for like a potential main event to get her name back like in the spotlight because she's been out for so long at this point that it gets her back in the light a little bit, and if she beats someone like Joanna, that boosts her star even more than what it already is and has been. And I mean, just stylistically, if she can get past someone like Joanna, who's such a good striker, and we saw her struggle a bit with Nina at the end of the fight, I mean, it pretty much is. That's the best way to go for getting her back into the mix and the conversation and getting people excited to see her for a potential title shot again. So, but
Yeah.
a lot of factors to that, a lot of factors surrounding that. So,
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I would like to see Joanna and Tatiana Suarez fight. I think that would be fun. But we just don't know what is going on with Tatiana, unfortunately. So it just depends on where Joanna wants to go from, if she wants to wait or if she wants to take a fight.
yep. So we will see. But
Yeah.
thank you, Yusuf.
Yep.
And
Thank you. Okay.
rolling on,
Jessica Andrade.
full circle.
She's going to take on Jessica I, uh, which is just a weird fight. I was
What a turn of events.
totally unexpected.
Yeah,
On
didn't
a,
see it coming at all.
yeah,
I don't
no,
hate it though. I don't hate it. I really don't.
yeah. I mean, I don't hate it at all, but it's just really weird. Like,
I
didn't
think
see
that
the
it sucks for Jessica I. I'll say that.
and
That's a brutal a rebound attempt.
yeah, against a former champion.
Former champion, a very dangerous champion who's looking to get back in the win column still since being champion. And now at flyweight, there was always that assumption that Andrade was wanting to go to flyweight at some point. Just was a matter of when. And I mean, after now losing to Rose and Whaley, it's like she'd have to climb a little bit more. And the way that she lost to Whaley, assuming she would still be there, it's like, all right, is it kind of worth not wasting your time, but I mean, I guess maybe wasting your time in a division where it's going to be harder to get that title shot. Where now she goes up, she sees the possibility, and the road there is a lot easier. Even though it is starting to get more interesting with people making moves like she is doing now. And against Jessica I, who, she's like my 13 or 14th ranked fighter, but she's a lot higher ranked by the UFC. So this is a perfect launching pad potentially for her in a very winnable fight that she will be favored in, and rightfully so. And it's funny to think that this also could have happened at bantamweight at some point.
Yeah,
So I'm all for it. Yeah, I'm totally cool with this. Even though I think didn't we like the idea of like Roxy versus Jessica I? So that kind of sucks. That I would have liked to see that too. But this is very out of left field. So I'll take some weirdness, especially at flyweight, as we're trying to get people to respect flyweight more. That's all I want really. Give some love to the 125 division.
yeah. So
So,
Juice from Fighting with Myself podcast asked earlier what we thought about this fight. I'm good with it. I'm good with it. It was totally unexpected though. It was just totally unexpected. Much like the Deanna Bennett going to Bellator.
yeah,
But I mean, that's what MMA is. Shit, unexpected shit happens all the time in MMA. Fighters go up, fighters go down in weight. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Jessica Andrade, though. She's going to be a smaller fighter against Jessica I. Jessica I is fairly tall. But she has a ton of power. She's never going to lose that power. And going up a weight class, she's going to gain power.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like people are gonna maybe look into that a little bit more than they should, but if they do, then they'll see that. Oh right, well, I forgot Jessica Andrade fought at bantamweight too. So I mean, it's like
Right.
it's not a super weird thing for her to be undersized, and I mean even at strawweight,
No?
she's very short. So
Yeah, she's tiny. She's just a tiny human being.
who's built, who's just built with tremendous strength. Um,
Yes.
and she's still going to be more strong than Jessica I. So it's like,
Yes, she will be much stronger than Jessica. I would think. I mean, I sent out the tweet when they broke this news. I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming. I did not see this fight coming
I
at
see
all.
what you're doing. Good wordplay, buddy. I did not see that coming. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, did I see that coming?
Amazing. So yeah, that I'm all for it. I'm all for that one.
Yeah.
But plenty of flyweight moves. It's things to talk. What a week for flyweight, huh?
Yeah. Okay,
Even
so
more.
Jillian Robertson will be taking on Polyana Botella on October 17th. We don't know where. But again, another really interesting fight. I like this fight. Dig it.
This one's kind of weird to me, matchmaking wise.
Why?
Just because, like, okay, obviously, Jillian Robertson got back in the win column with that great win over Courtney Casey, dominated her. But then Pollyanna, yeah, she's coming off a win as well, but April 2019, I didn't realize it had been so long
Yeah.
since she fought.
Yep, she hasn't fought
So
since April.
So that's the weird part for me is like, okay, yeah, they're both coming off wins, one fight winning streaks and all that, but like in terms of like momentum and the timing of it, it's like I don't know, just weird. Like I never expected to see this one be made. I guess
Yeah.
positionally it is fine, even though the Mueller win for Botello was her return to flyweight, while Jillian's kind of been doing her thing, putting work in. So I don't know. It kind of I'm not really mad at it, like I have been with some flyweight choices that they've done. I think it's fine, but like just kind of like okay, I didn't expect that, Similar to the last one, just not to the same degrees of shocking, of course.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same degree of shocking. But like
No.
we said, since we restarted this podcast, it's weird times right now. Fighters are taking fights. Sure, Jillian Robertson is ranked number 15, and Polyana Botello is not. But maybe she just wants to fight, and this is what was offered to her. Maybe she just wants to stay. Maybe Jillian just wants to stay active.
Yeah, that's very. I mean, that's probably very accurate to say since she is still taking that match with Lowen, since that is still happening.
Right.
At the end of this month, I believe, if my calendar is correct.
August 31st.
Yeah, 30 or 31st.
Yeah, it's whatever that Sunday is.
30th. Yep, the 30th. So, yeah, staying busy is Jillian Robertson.
Yep. It'll be cool to see if she actually competes at Submission Underground. I would think that she does this time around.
Yeah, assuming nothing weird happens. So.
Yep.
So yeah, that.
Yeah, Headkick just said, "Why not Jillian versus Modafferi?" And I would agree. Why not that fight? I would agree with that, but Jillian is ranked number 15 and Roxanne is ranked number 7 right now. Sure, Roxanne is kind of on the downslide while Jillian's on on the rise, but maybe they don't want to feed
They're afraid of maybe.
Jillian to Roxy yet. Not quite yet. Not quite yet, maybe. But I mean, I do agree with Steve. Head kick audio, Steve. I do agree with you, Steve, that that's a fun fight. I think it would be a fun fight.
Yeah, Roxy's in that weird spot now where, like I said, I feel like she can't quite, hang with the top girls anymore.
I don't know if she can't hang. I just think that she's kind of in a rut right now. And we've seen her kind of do this before, where she loses a few fights and then she comes back, she bounces back, and she wins. Or she pulls off like 4 wins in a row, and she gets right back up there again.
Yeah,
I think maybe that's where she's at right now, because she's very capable of beating anybody at any given time.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah. Very. We will see, I guess. I mean, she's got to get through Andrea KGB Lee for a second time, so.
That's a tough fight, man.
So. We will see about that. But our man Yusuf has another question here. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And a very good one. He's got some good ones here.
Okay, so who has a better chance of beating Amanda Nunes, in a rematch, hypothetically? Chris Cyborg or Valentina Shevchenko? So you want to go? Go ahead.
I feel like you're ready.
No, go. Yeah, no, I'm good. Go ahead. Okay. It'll simmer a little bit.
Let him marinate. He's got something ready. So let's just say, first of all, I think that Nunes would beat both of them. Again, I'll say that first of all.
Right.
Has already beat them both. I don't know, man. I just feel like with Valentina, obviously that second fight, incredibly close, very close. A lot of people think Valentina won it. I thought Valentina won it on the first watch. I don't remember last time I watched it or how I felt about it then. I might have only watched it that first time, honestly. But yeah, very competitive. I just think that the thing with them is, okay, they've both improved tremendously since then, obviously. No doubt about it. Nunes has gone on to establish herself as the GOAT, rightfully so. Valentina just dominating as best as she can at flyweight. But I just feel like Nunes has just grown a lot more. Like, and having already been able to beat Valentina twice, that if they both, let's say they both got better at the same rate. Well, if Nunes was able to beat her already and they increase the same, then Nunes will still be better and should win. I mean, obviously that's kind of a silly thing to say, but if you're going to look at it that way, I feel like that's kind of how it's gone. If they both progress so much. But if it's the same amount of progression, Nunes is still going to win it. And then with the Cyborg matchup, too quick. It was a little too quick to really gauge, what... I mean, it was fair. It obviously was totally fair. It was a fight. 50 seconds of madness. They did what they did. Nunes took some big shots, and then she gave some back, and, that's how it went. Obviously, though, Cyborg would not fight that same way in a rematch. Therefore, automatically, I think she has a better chance. And, I mean, we've seen her in her rebound performances against Spencer and Julia Budd. More so, that Julia Budd performance is like, damn, she is still very capable. She is still one of the best, and we shouldn't have written her off with a loss to Nunes in the first place, which people did stupidly, because that's what the community will do at times.
Absolutely. They wrote her off big time.
Yeah, so I think that, man, if you just really look at the way that the 3 fights, these 3 Nunes fights, because the 2 Valentina fights, that they've played out, and then what has happened since then, it's like, I feel like the easy choice is Cyborg. I mean, maybe that's dumb to say because, I don't know, bigger fighter too. I mean, you look at all the factors, I think it's Cyborg pretty easily. What do you got? What do you got waiting?
Oh my God. Oh, dude, heartbreak. So I'm gonna read Ariel Helwani's tweet right now.
Uh-oh, something happened. Oh, God.
Yair Rodriguez is out of the August 29th main event versus Zabit Magomed Sharipov.
Okay, I thought it was something important.
Due to an It's pretty fucking important. Due to an ankle injury, Dana White confirmed. Calvin Kattar,
And
via
Zabit,
his
too?
manager Tyson Chartier, has agreed to step in on short notice. No word yet on what the UFC plans on doing. Fuck. Okay, so if we're gonna lose Zabit against and Yair, a fight that I just wrote about, literally just fucking wrote about it for the 5 fights to watch in August. Literally just wrote about it. If anybody is gonna pull out of that fight or whatever, and somebody steps in, Calvin Kattar is fucking legit, dude. His boxing is amazing. His boxing is fucking amazing. I love watching his boxing. Okay, so Yair and Zabit, they were gonna do the spinning shit, right? They were gonna do all that spinning crap, and it would have been all kinds of fun. You know, it would have been a bunch of fun shit. Calvin Kattar is gonna be able to contain Zabit and his spinning shit. Woo, that's a fun fight.
I mean, he didn't the first time.
No, but he has gotten so much better. Like
Well,
his MMA has gotten so much better. He came in as a boxer.
is this still 5 rounds? That's the big key.
I
5
mean,
rounds, Cater's going to win.
Kattar just fought Ige in 5 rounds. Zabit has never gone 5 rounds. He has yet to go 5 rounds, and that is the biggest knock on him is that he's never gone 5 rounds. He's never had a 5-round fight.
So do we know though? Because that was Yair versus Zabit was main event. So if Cater's coming in, and there's enough time, right? This should still be 5 rounds.
One would assume, but also we just saw Derek Brunson and Edmund Shabazian fight a main event, which was 3 rounds.
A bit shorter notice though. So
a bit shorter notice, right? Because that fight is set for August 29th. Today is August 4th.
That's enough time. Come on.
They have 3 weeks to get their shit together to go. Yair has already beat Kattar, so
he would have won that 3rd round though. I mean, everybody wins a 3rd round against Zabit. That's the thing.
That is right. And Head Kick Audio Steve said Kattar would have taken it over 5 rounds. And
safe bet.
Exactly. If you were to put your money on Kattar going into the 4th round and 5th round against Zabit, you might have won money that way. You know, putting money on the 4th round for Kattar and the 5th round for Kattar.
Yeah.
Hell of a fight. Either way, hell of a fight. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our initial question by Yusuf Muhammad. Who has a better chance of beating Nunes in a rematch? Hypothetically, Cyborg or Val? I think that Cyborg is just shit on all the time by the MMA community for a bunch of different reasons, whatever. She beats tough women. Just because she didn't beat Amanda Nunes doesn't mean that she wouldn't fight a different fight the second time around. Valentina Shevchenko, we've seen her fight Amanda Nunes twice. Sure, the second fight was Drake. You had Valentina winning the second fight. I had Nunes winning the second fight. I can see why either of them would have got their hands raised. Valentina has not fought the women that Amanda Nunes has fought, especially since their last fight. She's fighting Jessica Ai and Caitlin Chikagian, while Amanda Nunes is fighting 2 weight classes. One, of course, the 145 division, not much there, but she is defending her belts in both divisions, and she's not losing. She's the GOAT for a reason, and until she gets beat by anybody, it's going to be really hard to pick against her. But who has a better chance? Cyborg has a better chance of beating Amanda Nunes because of that knockout power. I don't see Valentina Shevchenko knocking out Amanda Nunes.
Yep.
Chris Cyborg, I can absolutely see that.
Oh man, I wish we would have got that fucking rematch, dude.
I know they just let Cyborg go though. They let her go.
God, insanity.
Yeah, I agree. Such a bummer, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Okay, so more fight news.
A big weird shakeup here at bantamweight.
Vieira is out against Yana Kunitskaya. Who's fighting Julija Storolenko? That's pretty bummed that Vieira's out of that fight.
Yeah, man. We were both really excited for that one. It was fantastic matchmaking, and
Yeah.
I'm assuming there was no reason for it, no reason given, but I'm assuming this has to be COVID related, considering Ketlin is now facing Marion Renault at a later date. So it's just like, okay, you're out of this. We need someone to fill in. Massive opportunity for Yulia. We got former Invicta champions going at it now. And honestly, this stylistically, fantastic matchup. Big opportunity for Yulia, coming back into the UFC after the stint on Tough 28. Has looked fantastic since then. Won 5 in a row. What was it, 3 or 4 by armbar, and then had one of the greatest fights of all time, the bloodiest fight of all time against Lisa Versosa to win the Invicta title in her last fight. Just looked very good everywhere. Her skill set has improved a lot since, and her fight IQ, I think more so than anything, her fight IQ really was a big negative for me on The Ultimate Fighter. She just did not fight very smart, but she's really put it together since then, and just varies her attacks in such unique ways, whether it's on the ground or on the feet. I mean, her elbows, man, in tight. I mean, those really sliced up for Souza, obviously. That's why it was so bloody. Yeah, I think this is going to be a very fun fight, and people really don't know what they're in for. So I think this is a fine replacement for the Vieira fight matchup with Yana. I'm really bummed that we aren't going to see it next. I mean, maybe at some point. Vieira versus Renault. That's fine. I mean, this is the world we're living in. I think it's pretty obviously.
Yeah, weird shit's happening everywhere as far as fight news and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I think that the Kunitskaya Vieira fight would have been a ton of fun. Just a ton of fun. Bummer, but I mean, at least they're all fighting each other. So, I mean, they're all fighting. It's not like one is without a fight now.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Nobody's left out.
Right.
So, this is the best segue that I think that we could ever possibly have, because this fight is happening this week. So.
Right. Okay, so what do you think? What happens with Kunitskaya and Storolenko?
Well, I have always been, pretty much since Yana really had her broke onto the scene with the first Avenger fight, right? I've been pretty high on her and liked what I've seen, and always kind of, she's always reminded me a bit of like an aggressive Holly Holm, if that makes sense. And of course, they're training partners, so I think that's a fair assessment. Obviously, they're taking things from each other, and she's very active off her back when the fight goes there. Not exactly a submission expert, but she throws up a lot of submissions whenever presented. So what will happen in this one? I think we'll see kind of a vintage Yana performance. At least she'll stick to her regular game plan where, you know, kind of trying to start. She'll engage and then start the action with distance shots, and then that will be when Yulia is going to try and time it to make things dirty because that's how her striking kind of works out. And maybe she will look to get it to the ground if she's having trouble or just in general because of, you know, the ability that she has on the ground and uh, what her winning streak has shown. um, and accompanied by the fact that we saw Yana, I don't want to say she got dominated by Aspen Ladd, but obviously in her last fight, Ladd was able to do her thing. But then at the same time, Ladd's obviously better on the ground than Stolyarenko. So I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. I think that Stolyarenko is going to be able to look very good, but in defeat. I think that for the most part, we're going to see Yana do what she wants to do and work her way to a very fun unanimous decision. Maybe Julia can steal like the third round, but I think Yana's going to have the slight edge throughout.
Yana just has the better striking. Um, she's kind of like a notch above Yulia, I guess. But Yulia is very tough, very very tough, and she's not an easy matchup for anybody really. But Yana is really good, and we just don't see her enough for people to remember.
Yeah.
For people to remember like how good
Appreciate.
she is, and appreciate how good she is, because she really does have a really nice stand up. We talk about like Jermaine Durandamy and Holly Holm having really good stand up. Yana Kunskaya she's pretty damn good herself. She's up there with them, and like you said, she does train with Holly Holm, and I think that Yana wins. I think Yana wins. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight though, but I do think that she pulls off the win and she wins this fight.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, I think that this is definitely a very winnable, you know, opportunity for Yulia. I mean, kind of a
Yeah,
similar
it's
ish
a really good
situation.
it's a really good opportunity for her for sure.
Yeah,
She might. I mean,
shake shit up. Could
yeah,
shake shit up real
she
fast.
definitely could. Because she's not an easy win for anybody.
Yeah, and I mean, especially since, you know, the streak that she's gone on, she's looked very much improved, like I mentioned. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, man, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, so head kick
I
audio
think we'll
said
see some more blood.
Steve
Steve.
from head kick audio said Yulia is a tough matchup, very tough and unorthodox. That's
Yep.
it. That's very true. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And looking to play spoiler with just like
Yeah.
Jennifer Maia. So even though I guess she's in JoJo's shoes in this case, where she's coming in late, but it's yeah, maybe not the maybe not a great comparison, but that's just what came to mind. So
And this is
yeah,
on the main card. Is that right?
yeah, it is. Yeah, because obviously Jan and Ketlin were going to be on there two highly ranked
One.
bantamweights. Makes sense. And I mean, what does it say here? Oh, the
Dariush.
second fight.
Dariush is the first main card fight.
And poor Darius should have got a ranked opponent or something, but that'll be a fun one too.
Agree. Agree. He's man, that poor guy.
Yes.
Okay, so Bellator 243, flyweights Valerie Loreda is taking on Tara Graf. Is that a Friday? This Friday, right?
Yep.
Don't know Tara Graf much. Valerie Loreda, I just know that she is a TikTok queen and Instagram queen. She's a Taekwondo black belt. We've only seen her twice. She's looked pretty good twice. I mean, she looks really good outside of the cage. That's for damn sure.
So yeah, I mean, obviously there's not too much to break down on this one because you know Bellator, they're building her up quite slowly, and I mean nothing wrong with that. She's very young in her own right. I always forget.
She's 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0, 22 years old.
Like 21, 22, yeah.
Um, and yeah, getting similar range skill range of opponent here in Telegraph, compared to her last opponents who were 0-1 and 1-2. Telegraph 1-1, hasn't fought since 2018, where both of her
Right.
fights were actually. Bellator debut, of course. It's yeah, obviously not very familiar with her, but Valerie Loretta should be able to do her thing because it's set up to be a showcase fight. I mean, they're building her. They're building her.
Absolutely.
Um,
And
on,
she has great training partners. She's down at ATT. She trains with the best, Amanda Nunes, Joanna Jacek, and
yeah.
so many others. They're Bellator is doing Bellator things where they're building her up. She should win. I don't know if it's going to be easy because I mean Telegraph is a virtual unknown to me.
They actually matched them up for January.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was that for that was for Bellator 238. That was the Cyborg one when I went to that one. I totally forgot that fight was supposed to be there.
Right.
And then Loretta got injured, so that could give Tara, some help since she's got more time to really focus on Loretta. I mean, obviously there's more footage on Loretta than Graf, so that plays in her advantage in that case. And I mean, we have seen, some of these backfire before. I mean, on that same card, Ava Knight got knocked off by, what was it, Emily King. So I mean, it's usually the striking specialist, right? So like Loretta here with the Taekwondo.
Yep.
Graf can get it to the ground, then it becomes an entirely different ball game. It's just a matter of getting it there. And I wasn't super impressed with Loretta's last fight against Larkin Dash, which feels like it was a lot. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago, yeah. But a unanimous decision. Dash was just she was just a very tough girl, I think was she the barista one? There's the running joke about that. So,
yep.
Yeah, obviously it's like you have to pick Loretta in this case, which that's how it's
for sure
to be. But
for sure, Loretta wins somehow, some
I'll
way.
say another decision. Yeah, I'll say it just for the sake of being specific.
Yeah, until I see her finish somebody, say decision, Valerie Loretta, and then she goes back to being the TikTok and Instagram queen that she is.
Oh, good fun. And now on to the best part of this weekend. Ryzen is back, baby.
And supposedly we're supposed to be able to get it here in the States, and well, internationally.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like we get it. We could watch it already, but I know there's some weirdness going on. Right?
No, yeah, there's supposed to be some kind of way to watch for us to watch it without maybe not Fight TV. I don't know.
Yeah. So I should probably hit up my people about that and figure it out. But I'm sure they're getting it all worked on. Very excited. Very excited.
Okay, so the Ryzen women's super atomweight title fight. Is it a title? It's not a title fight.
No, Masaki.
Ayaka Hamasaki versus Tomo Masawa. Hamasaki? She's really good.
Yeah, Hamasaki's the GOAT.
Yeah, she's really, really good.
And I mean, we saw, we talked about this a little bit last week because of the, the tag team match and how Hamasaki submitted Mesawa literally a week ago or whatever in that tag team match. So it's like, well, why is she's just gonna do it again, right? And I assume so.
I mean, it's MMA. You would assume that that probably happens again. But it's MMA. I don't know.
Either way, Hamasaki
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
better striker and just fighter overall. One of the
it's true.
best, most underrated fighters that there has ever been. I will go that far. Educate yourselves, people. If you don't know, I mean, go watch her last fight as well. Even in defeat, incredibly close. You could argue that she won it. One of the best fights you'll ever see. That trilogy with So Hee Ham. I mean, she was sharp and on point in the striking. Was getting the better of it for most of that fight. Really, just kind of that second round is what kind of changed things up. But just she looked a lot more powerful too. And I mean, just her technique and everything, her striking in that fight, the power for atom weights on display. And we've seen, Misawa still a top 15 atom weight, I would say, but kind of folds against the real top atom weights. Like obviously her last loss came to Sohiham. Saw that at Ryzen 17 where got beat up with those knees on the ground. It happens, And then before that, Kana Asakura, who's another one of the legit top atom weights, who we'll talk about here next.
Who we'll be talking about.
Yeah, and then she'll beat everybody else. It's kind of like, I don't know who a good comparison is. I guess John Fitch kinda of atom weight, not the same because she has lost those non-top tippy top fighters, but
Yeah.
at the moment that's kind of where she's at. A late resurgence where just not quite there, and we just saw her get submitted by Hamasaki, so. I'm fine with it. It's gonna be fun, but I gotta go with the goat. I'm gonna say I'll give it second round submission. I think this time.
Yeah, I would assume that Hamasaki submits her, whether it's in the first, second, third round, who knows? But one would assume that that's the way that it goes.
Can't wait though.
Yeah, good fight. Okay, so Kana Sakura will be taking on Mizuki Furuse. It's another super atomweight fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one. That's also a good one. I think this is a better matchup, a much better matchup.
Yeah, I mean they're both unique in their own ways. Because obviously I think that so it's weird because Hamasaki and Misawa is two top 15, atom weights. Obviously Hamasaki's number 2. Misawa back towards the end of the line in that 15, but both veterans, right? And then you got in this one Asakura and Furuse, who are shockingly young. Shockingly young. But Mizuki is more of she's younger. She's 19, which is insane in its own right. She's more of the prospect compared to Kana. Kana is an elite atom weight, has proven it. She's that 5'6" range, top 5'6". 20 fights already for a 22-year-old. She's not a prospect anymore, even though she's that young. I think that's safe to say. I don't think that if you're in the top 5 of your division, you're a prospect anymore. And then with as much experience as she already has, but then at the same time, their age is similar. So it's like, all right, these matchups have kind of those weird flavors to them. But with all that in mind, it's like, Akana is the person you kind of have to lean towards here. But a massive, massive opportunity for Furuse. In comparison to that Hamasaki Misawa 1-2. Of course, if Misawa can pull that off, that's huge for her. I guess that would automatically earn her a rematch with Sohiham. But as for this one, Furuse wins. Man, that's a big upset. Puts her on the map. It's similar to Kurobe and Sugimoto, as we touched on in previewing that one. But Asakura, dude, I mean, her ground game is still coming along, and it's already so great. And I mean, we saw in her last fight in Bellator, that nasty Kimura on Jamie Hinshaw. If you haven't seen that, it just hurts to watch, man. I should have tapped sooner. I mean, and Kana was working for it before that even. And just to keep going on how great that she is. I mean, we've been talking about Alicia Zapatella a lot in the last couple of weeks, of course, for good reason. I mean, Kana got the win over her in her fight before that last one too. Obviously, a closer one because Zapatella is very good in her own right and a top 15.
Yep.
But we've just seen a lot more from Asakura. We know that she's proven herself. Mizuki is looking to do that. She is on a great roll right now with 4 in a row, and she's only lost to, I mean, more experienced people for the most part. Her last loss, Emi Tomomitsu, who was significantly more experienced and a veteran of the sport. But yeah, I mean, Furuse, she's got a very bright future, most likely. Still 19, insane again.
Super young.
Um,
They're super.
but
They're both super young. I love this fight.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's a really fun fight.
yeah. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good and a very. I mean, if she can just look like fairly competitive, that's a win for her. Her stock's gonna has much better chances of going up. Just then I guess Kana. I mean, of course, if Kana wins 3-fight winning streak, gets her back in the picture of things, maybe we could see Kana and Ayaka too. Maybe even though I don't know,
Yeah.
things are interesting.
I just think that Asakura is really just a really good fighter in general. I think she wins. I think Furuse is really good too. She's just young and not hasn't been in as many fights as Asakura.
High level fights too.
Yeah, maybe this will just be kind of like a learning lesson for Furuse.
Yeah.
A
Either
teaching
way,
moment.
she's gonna
A
get that
teaching moment
rub.
for
Yeah.
Asakura.
Yeah, I
I have
agree. Yeah.
Asakura. I have Asakura winning this fight.
Yeah, I'm gonna say second round submission again. I think that's gonna be my pick for both of them. But I think Mizuki definitely has. She can make it fun, for while it lasts and show that she is a legitimate prospect. Who,
Yeah,
man, it's crazy to just still crazy to think like how young she is and a solid winning streak. If she wins here, she really jumps the line and makes things a lot fresher because she hasn't fought those a lot of the top girls yet, and I mean she's trying. This is going to be her first real one besides Tomomatsu, who her last loss came against. So yeah, big opportunity, and that's one of those moments where like she can only thrive off of it unless the pressure's too much, but. No audience should help, probably.
right. That's true.
So,
So we both have Asakura winning this fight.
yeah.
You have her in the second round. I have her, second, third. I mean, I think it's gonna happen. The finish will happen. It just depends on when it will happen.
Yep. I agree with that. So
Yeah.
looking forward to those fights, though, man.
Yeah, Ryzen's back, baby.
Ryzen is back. The
It's
comeback.
nice to have. It's nice to have all these promotions back. UFC's been back. Bellator is putting on their second show from being back this Friday. One just put on their comeback show. Ryzen is coming back for 2 shows.
Ryzen 23 is the night after that one. Just
The
no
night
female
after.
fights, which is why
Right.
didn't mention it, but yes, of course.
Yep.
So
So I mean, MMA is back, baby. MMA is back.
MMA is back.
Okay, so we have one more fight, one more question from Yusuf.
Yes.
Who is killing us.
Thank you, Yusuf.
If
Oh, man.
Helen Cater fights Zabit, what happens with Max? So Zabit was supposed to fight Yair. Max was. I have said that I would love to see Max and Cater fight each other. I think that would have been a great fight because but I just okay. So we have Korean Zombie and Ortega. That's eventually going to happen, right? Now Yair's out. Zabit is going to take on Calvin Cater. Where's Max going to go? A third fight with Volkanovski. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. The UFC is fucking hellbent on getting Max that title back. You cannot say anything for me to believe that the UFC doesn't want Max Holloway to be champion. And that's no knock on Alexander Volkanovski. In my opinion, Alexander Volkanovski is a phenomenal fighter. He clearly beat Max Holloway the first fight. Clearly beat him the first fight. The second fight was a lot closer. And many people have Max Holloway beating Volkanovski in that second fight. I personally had Max Holloway beating Volkanovski the second fight. So the UFC is going to make this third fight. They want Max to have that strap again. That's what they want. You can say what you want, and I won't believe anything. I won't believe anything else.
I mean, you're probably right. It really seems like it. And if you think about it too, I mean, what, Zombie and Ortega, was that supposed to be next month? Supposed to
Yeah.
be. So I mean, you look at that timing too, because you could have argued that if you give Chan Sung Jung the title shot next, right? But he's matched up here now. He has to get through this. He has to get through it unscathed. I mean, if you look at how we have to wait for that to shake out, it's like,
How long are we
okay,
gonna have to
well,
wait?
how long is Volkanovski gonna wait though? And then with this development, I don't know if it changes it too much. I mean, I really was hoping to see Cater and Holloway next. I think that would have been solid matchmaking.
Oh yeah.
For where they are. Unless I'm missing somebody in that lineup that sounds about perfect. I mean,
You mean in the rankings?
yeah.
Okay, Volkanovski's the champion, clear, obviously. Max is number 1. Ortega is number 2. Zabit is number 3. TKZ is number 4. Yair is number 5. Calvin Cater is number 6.
Okay, so,
and then you have Josh Emmett, Frankie Edgar. So Pretty Eyes and TKZ are fighting each other. Number 2 and number 4. Pretty Eyes and TKZ. Zabit and is ranked number 3. He was supposed to take on number 5, Yair Rodriguez. Now he's fighting Calvin Cater, number 6. That only leaves in the top 5, number 1 ranked Max Holloway.
Yeah. So I mean, it's probably going to be that trilogy fight, which, you know, I thought that Volkanovski did win the second fight, but obviously incredibly close. Max Holloway wins under the global rule set, the Pride rules. That's no rounds. That's the thing, is that everybody forgets to score by round, I think. But
that's true.
It's hard for me to give, you know, a third fight after having lost twice and back to back. I mean, Holloway shouldn't even have gotten an instant rematch, in my opinion. But then he goes out and makes it very close, so it's like, okay, that gives him a better chance. I would, how this has happened now, and Cater being out of the picture, jumping in here. Emmett have him? No, because he's out too because of his injuries. He had those incredible injuries, so he's off the table. Now it has to be Holloway and Volkanovski. There's nothing else you can do. If you give Holloway somebody further down the line, everybody's gonna bitch about that, dude. Like who'd you say was
everybody's gonna bitch about everything? Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
Who'd you say was after Emmett though?
Frankie Edgar.
He's leaving the division.
Frankie Edgar number 8. Jeremy Stevens number 9.
That's not happening. Yeah, it's got to be Volkanovski now, unless they wait.
Crazy, dude. Well, it's crazy. This division is so damn good, yet here we are seeing Volkanovski and Max Holloway probably for the third time in a year.
Annoying. Annoying. I like to see some freshness.
Well, I mean, we have freshness though. Like we have Zabit. They have Pretty Eyes again. They have Korean Zombie. They have Yair, but he's out now. Like, and now Cater. That's all freshness, other than Max Holloway.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess the one thing we didn't think about is if he wants to go back up to lightweight.
Yeah, I mean,
It's the only other thing.
he had a really good fight with Poirier there.
I mean, that's it. It's Volkanovski or lightweight right
Fuck
now.
that. Max Holloway and Conor McGregor, dude.
I'm down for
McGregor
that
needs to fight.
rematch for sure.
McGregor needs a fight. McGregor needs a fight. Max Holloway, Volkanovski probably doesn't want to fight Holloway for a third time in a calendar year. Like he's probably his mind is probably blowing thinking about it. Like
I beat
he's
this
like,
guy twice.
he's like, dude, I just beat him twice. What the fuck do I have to do? So
Yeah, man.
Conor
That
McGregor
champion.
and Max Holloway, make that rematch. It's been a long time since we saw that fight, that first fight. They've come a long way since Max Holloway has come a long way since that first fight.
Yeah, no, that would be fantastic to see that one now. And Yusuf throws out the suggestion of Holloway Diaz, but to counter that, I don't, I don't, I don't. What is? I don't think the Diaz fight really does anything for Max besides just doing it.
Yeah, it,
Like
it
compared
really
to the
does.
Connor fight,
Yeah,
at
it
least
really
that could
doesn't do much.
launch him into that, potential of a lightweight title fight. I mean, if he's just gonna stay busy until going back down to featherweight, sure, whatever. That does no harm with rankings or anything like that because Diaz is nowhere to be seen besides random fun fights. So, but I
Like
don't know.
if you think about it, Diaz and Tony Ferguson would be a hell of a fight. Put
But it
those
makes
two
no sense.
against each other. That makes complete sense for a violence lover like me. It makes complete sense. Dustin Poirier and Diaz, they've gone back and forth. They almost had a fight. Put those two
That's
against
true.
each other. I mean, they're. I don't. Sure, Nate Diaz is ranked number 12 as a welterweight, but who is he
Shouldn't
really
be.
going to fight the welterweights? I don't think so. I don't think he fights the welterweights.
Well, also, yeah. I mean, for Holloway Diaz, we'd have to assume Diaz would go back down to lightweight, but it sounds like he doesn't ever want to do that again if
I
he,
don't.
is to keep fighting. So
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they're going to do. They need to open that 165 division.
that would be the ticket. But yeah, I mean, that sums it up, I guess.
Yeah. So what do you have going on this week?
What do I have going on this week? Well, you see, trying to line up some interviews, working on, big secret project landing things. Won't say too much. Yeah, just trying to work out some interviews. Really, nothing that I can say yet in confirmation. But of course, check out, the recent one I did with Jessica Aguilar on my MA News, the written article there. Great story. The video interview is also on my channel, which is just under my name, Drake Riggs. You can go see that on YouTube. That's really the main thing I think I have to plug. Still at this moment, I'm probably forgetting. I'm all scrambled these days, but yeah. So that's what I got going on.
Okay, so I have an interview with which I already did. I just need to put it out with Peter Barrett, who is fighting this coming weekend on MMA Inc. You go to YouTube MMA Inc. That's my YouTube channel where I talk with fighters about their tattoos. That will be coming out tomorrow, hopefully, and then also coming out tomorrow is it's kind of a satire-ish mailbag article. I took questions from Twitter people and I answered them kind of in a satire dickish way. Kind of played with my whole attitude about things. So that will be coming out tomorrow. I'm basically done with it. Just got to refine it, I guess. And that's about it. And then the scrap put thanks Steve. I don't know why you put that.
I did that for head kick audio.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was like, what? Oh, but guys, great show. I just saw that. Guys, great
Yeah.
show. Got work in the morning. We'll catch the rest in the AM. You're welcome.
Yes, I
Thank you for
appreciate
coming, Steve.
that. Thank you, sir. And thank you to everybody who watched, and
Thank you,
Yusuf, for all
Yusuf,
your great
for all of your
questions. Yeah,
questions. Yeah, that was
very good
amazing.
stuff. Yeah.
I love that.
So yeah, let's send it on home, buddy boy.
Okay, so until next week, stay healthy, stay safe. See you guys next week. Peace.
Peace. Don't know if we're still on here.